Okay, welcome to this evening's podcast. Been a long day at work today, a bloody hot day, but a lot's happened today in sport. Simon Yates has extended his lead over Chris Froome in the Giro to 2 minutes 51 seconds. Simon Yates has been leading the Giro for 4 days now, and he's looking pretty good. We've had 10 stages. He's looking pretty confident, but at the same time, do I believe anything McLean? No. My faith in the UCI cycling and in the sport itself is at an all-time low, and I may not watch the Tour de France this year. Cycling has never recovered from the Lance Armstrong scandal. Really, 10 years ago, it's ruined the sport. There was suspicion about Lance Armstrong, the lies, the bullying, the superiority complex, the ego. There's been 3 other champions of the Tour de France since Lance Armstrong who have failed drugs tests. I honestly have no faith in the governing body of the sport, the UCI, and I have no faith in the sport itself. And it's telling that the race organiser of the Giro said we don't want Chris Froome to win because he's currently under investigation. I don't think he should be riding in this year's Giro because of the allegations against him. But Simon Yates is winning. Is this a good thing? Possibly. We'll see what happens over the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Because it is one of the 3 Grand Tours. It's a 3-week event. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if Simon Yates can continue leading the race. Can he win it? Of course he can. But we shall see what happens. But Chris Froome, I've done videos on Chris Froome. I personally don't think he should be riding the Giro while he's under investigation. He hasn't really aided his corner with some of his media interviews, and Team Sky have lost all credibility with the Jiffy Bag, Sir Bradley Wiggins, and the various scrutiny that they're under. I don't see, when you've got twice the legal limit dose of medication in your system, that 2 of the riders who've had lesser doses in their system have been banned for, respectively, I don't see how he can't get banned. The UCI is no longer run by a Brit, it's run by someone else. So we shall see what happens. The length of time taken over this is taking too long. We've already had a rider done for EPO, blood doping, which I thought they'd moved on from because it was so obvious how to do it. With the Lance Armstrong scandal, we've had a rider died of a heart attack in the Paris-Roubaix. I have little faith in the cycling authorities in combating doping. I say life bans, but I'm in a sizable minority. But Contador's been banned twice, and has come back, and the sport's welcomed with open arms. He's been caught twice. It's embarrassing. It's an absolute embarrassment to the sport that a serial cheat can be allowed back in twice. So I'm going to say on the cycling side of it, and on that note, but Simon Yates is winning the Giro. Could this be a good news story? I hope so. I really honestly hope so. In some sadder news, J. Lloyd Samuel, the former Aston Villa and Bolton and Trinidad and Tobago international, has died overnight in a car accident at the age of 37. Very underrated fullback. I think England overlooked him at their peril, and they could have used his pace down either flank as a wing back when he was at his prime. And because they snubbed him, because he played for the under-17 level, but he was born in Trinidad, but they did snub him, and he went on and played for Trinidad for 2 appearances. Yeah, he only got the 2 appearances, but I think when he was at Aston Villa, he was one of the most underrated wing back or fullbacks in the game. He could play either side of the pitch, left or right. Had a good pace, and was a solid, hard-working player. And England have an issue with that position at times, and have done over the years. And they overlooked him, and I felt then, as I do now, that was wrong. It is sad that he sadly died in a road traffic collision. We don't know the full details of that yet, but he died overnight. I believe it was in Warrington, in Cheshire. Details will emerge in time. The legal process has to, for a road traffic collision that's resulted in a fatality, has to take place, and that can be a lengthy process. And it's days, it's incidents like that put it into perspective a little bit. And it's kind of, people tend to forget when sports stars retire, especially those who are not the high profile sports stars, just your average hard working player of a rugby team or a football team or a cricket team who retire. They do have a life. They do other stuff. He was one of those players in the 90s and the noughties that didn't have a colourful private life. He was pretty free of scandal. And he started his career as a youth player at Charlton, and obviously he's best well known for his time at Aston Villa and Bolton in the Premier League. He will be sorely missed by the football community. I have no doubt on that. None. Now, in response to the ECB chairman's comments last night saying that young people haven't got an interest in the sport, they do. It's really disheartening to listen to the ECB right now, because there's a reason why young people aren't as actively involved with the sport. It's because they can't watch it free to air. And people my age group, the 18 to 30 club, as I call it, the 18 to 34-year-olds, 35-year-olds, we're not paying for paywall services. We're not. I find it interesting that BT Sport have actually sort of realised this, because they're playing the Europa League final on YouTube and the Champions League final on YouTube. Free. No ads. They've worked out that free streaming with the TV ad revenue, because the competitions are sponsored by people, and of course those ads are seen, and the sponsors will pay to have at the live games their sponsors go up on the revolving sponsorship wheel for 30 seconds. They'll pay maybe €1 million for 30 seconds of ad time. Yeah, that's what I find funny. BT are streaming live the Europa League final tomorrow night and the Champions League final when that happens. They did it last year. They're doing it again this year. Free to air. Come on, it's a no-brainer. You get more viewership. You get more viewers. It's a known fact that cricket in England was at its peak in 2005 with that Ashes series, and then straight away the ECB, being short-sighted and money grabbing, sold out the sky, and viewership has dwindled year on year on year. Less and less people are watching cricket now than 2005. It's a no-brainer. Free-to-air coverage, please. Simple. It's wrong how the ECB have treated the fan base in general. They're trying to win these new fans, right? These stay-at-home mums with their kids, soccer mums as they call them. There's a problem with that. Only 1 in 5 mothers stay at home with the kids. 4 out of 5 of them have jobs, and the 1 out of 5 that don't, a large minority of them aren't wealthy enough to afford the ticket prices that the ECB charge for test matches or one days or T20s, or even the clubs, because the clubs are not getting the support they are due from the ECB. They can't afford to take 2-3 kids out for a day of cricket or a night of cricket. It's just not doable. It's the same with football. The average age of a football fan is now 41. And for all those who say, oh, but the Sky TV package has saved, giving us the Premier League and giving so much money to the game, that's great. Then why is it in the hands of so few clubs? Well, so many are on the verge of bankruptcy. If all this foreign money coming to the game is so well, why the England team so appalling? And why is it that there's not enough young English players playing? Just stating the obvious here. Why there's so many empty seats at stadiums? Why ticket prices going through the roof? Why foreign owners milking fans for their cash? For a declining product, I think in my eyes, I think football worldwide has actually gone down in standard. I'm totally honest in that assessment. I don't think it's the quality it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I actually feel football was at a higher quality when more South American players were playing in South America, and to get into your national side, you had to play in your country of origin pretty much to actually be guaranteed a national place. I'm not saying you couldn't, but in recent years, it's just mercenary players playing for money, and their wages are going up and up and up. And I don't understand. And there is a reason why in the Western world there is an obesity crisis, because you have to pay to watch sport on TV. Part of the reason, a lot of kids just don't get the opportunity to watch sport. And just because you have a Sky subscription does not mean you have Sky Sports. 18 million households do not have Sky Sports. The fact they might have got Sky subscription does not mean they have the sports package. And that's the ECB's mantra is, And that's what they're trying to like fob us off with. It's like, but yeah, people have got Sky. Yeah, they're not watching because you have to pay $7.99 a day for Sky Sports. Well done, ECB. Well done. You really, really done us proud by mismanaging the game for 13 years. And I think Andrew Strauss hasn't done a very great job as the ex-player involved with the game. He's a joke. The selectors are a joke. The coaching setup is wrong. The way, like, £100 for a test match. When I went to my first test match in 2003, my tickets were dirt cheap. They have gone up tenfold. It's not acceptable. As a concession, I got a ticket for less than a tenner. Now it's 20, 30, 40 quid for that. And that's not including the travel and the adult ticket. It's just not right. There's a reason why I was happy to go to a test match. I saw Jimmy Anderson's first ever test wicket against Zimbabwe. To say young people don't give a toss about cricket is just wrong. It's demeaning and it damages the game further. It just shows how out of touch the ECB are. And I mentioned this about the FA as well. I could go on about how unrepresentative these organisations are of modern society. Lack of people of colour, lack of women involvement, not enough ex-players involved. And what I find funny is all the players who come out and publicly back this 100 ball format are all centrally contracted. They'll say anything because they will say what the ECB tells them to say. The majority of players could go on strike and down tools, and I don't blame them. A lot of cricketers are underpaid at county cricket level, not paid very well at all, and I don't think anyone's been consulted about this. It's just the easy way to try and ram it through. That's not how you develop trust within a sport or trust within an organisation. And it's the same with the FA trying to sell Wembley. They're trying to ram it through, and a lot of questions have to be asked. It is what it is. I'm not going to go on too long about that, but I have lost faith in the ECB, I've lost faith in the FA, and I've lost faith in the UCI, three governing bodies of three sports that I've lost faith with over the last few years because they have failed to act on issues within the game, yet they're trying to force through ideas that are unpalatable. They're demeaning the fan base, and they're not taking action when they should take action on various issues such as racism, homophobia, sexism, cheating, doping, corruption. They don't do enough in those areas, but they bang the drum about, oh yeah, but this is all good for you. With all this money we're going to make, it's good for youth development. Let's see it then. Because the reason why, firstly, kids aren't watching or playing cricket is there's not enough playing fields. Cricket clubs are having to sell their grounds and sell their pitches to developers just so they can merge with the next cricket club down the road and they can be financially stable enough. Playing fields are being sold off and have been for over 40 years. Simple. That's where there's a problem. It's not the fast food adverts. It's pay-per-view TV, which is taking away sport, easily accessible sport, away from millions of young kids and taking away the facilities for them to play those sports or have a kickabout. Just have a kickabout, literally, just to keep active. It's not just participate in an organised league structure, it's just keeping active. So many open spaces are being sold off to developers. So many parks and playing fields are disappearing. Not enough inner city schools have facilities, apart from maybe a small basketball court, maybe. They don't have playing fields anymore. They've been sold for unaffordable housing as well, ironically. Not affordable housing, unaffordable housing. So that's my political bit on it. That's the issue. So if a city can't say we're going to try and ban fast food ads on the underground, that's a joke. How about you start, instead of banning the fast food ads, how about you actually build some playing fields? You're the mayor, try and get it through. Don't take the easy option. You've got to sometimes take some hard decisions and go, we actually are going to fund grassroots playing. We're going to put in some parks that have swings and football goals up and maybe some tennis courts. Actually put them in there rather than selling them off and allowing your councillors to sell them off. How about that, huh? Yeah? Actually grow some balls, maybe? That's my political rant over because I could really go off on one here on politics. Obviously, we've had the World Cup. A lot of teams in our nations, I think today or tomorrow is the last day where squads can be announced for the World Cup. Obviously, Joe Hart and Jack Wilshere have been omitted from the England squad to go to the World Cup. Gertz has been omitted from the Germany squad to go to the World Cup. There's been some notable omissions of players from World Cup squads. But they've all been announced mostly in the last 24 hours. There's still some to come. it's very interesting seeing who has been selected and who's not. And there will be people who disagree, let's say, with Goetze not going to, on the plane with Germany, and there will be a few of those saying Jack Wilshere or Joe Hart should go. But I'm seeing probably more people saying it's the right choice. Gareth Southgate for me is too nice a manager. He's too nice. He's too nice. He doesn't have enough spite about him when he needs that little bit of, that grit your teeth and go, I'm making a tough decision here. He's finally made a tough decision. It's just taken nearly 2 years to finally grow a pair and actually go, I'm cutting you from the squad, you're not good enough. He's too nice. He wants to be liked, I think. He was a nice player. He was a very gentlemanly player. I'm not disputing that, but he comes across as he wants to be loved. Do your job. Joe Hart is not good enough at the moment, and Jack Wilshere is not fit enough. Simple. Stop pandering to and stop. England are not good enough to piss around with piss poor players. Simple. If they've been below par, don't take them. Simple. Finally, he's starting to actually make some decisions that make sense, because sometimes I wonder if if the England job is just a poison chalice and the national side is going to be crap for years, because at the moment I don't see any way we're going to get past the second round at a push. The NHL playoffs are getting really tense. Washington could take a 3-0 series lead over Tampa, and Winnipeg and Vegas are drawn at 1-1 in their series. I still think that the winner of the Stanley Cup comes from the Western Conference. Even though Washington have really taken a strong lead in their series and could go 3-0 up, I still think Winnipeg and Vegas, one of those two, will win the Cup this year. I don't know what it is, I just have a feeling. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. So, but that's my personal view on the NHL playoffs. We shall see what happens there. There's still the rest of the conference finals, and then we've got to get actually through the Stanley Cup final series as well. There's a long way to go, but it's so close. We're over halfway now for the playoffs. It's playoff beard. This beard will be going soon. As soon as the playoffs are done, this beard's coming off. Of course, I want to see the Jets win the Stanley Cup. I think Canada needs a Stanley Cup winner, and they've been, this season the most likely team to give Canada a Stanley Cup. I think Toronto still have a ways to go. They're still lacking a few pieces. They will be a playoff team regularly. They just need to take that next step to win a series, maybe win 2 series, and then we can start considering them contenders. At the moment, they're playoff. That's as far as they get. It's just playoffs. They need to take a few more steps. The other Canadian sides, a lot of problems there. A lot of problems. There's only 2 Canadian sides that I think next year make the playoffs, and that is the Jets again and Toronto. Montreal have Carey Price on a very lengthy contract. That could be a bad contract. If he keeps getting injury prone, that's a lot of money. $10 million a year on a cripple. It could be another. What's his goalie's name? Is it deep? God, there was an Islanders goalie who was on a big contract and kept getting injured, and that's caused the Islanders problems. You should never make your goaltender your highest paid player. It is pure insanity. But that's my personal opinion on that. I'm trying to remember the bloody Islanders goalie was on a big contract and he kept getting injured. Someone could tell me in the comment section below. But no, it's been an interesting day in sport. There is a lot to consider. Tomorrow night is the Europa League final. I think Atletico Madrid win that. That's my personal opinion on that one. They have experience in Europe getting to finals. They've won the Europa League before. Diego Simeone is a feisty character and is a fiery character both as a player and as a manager. So that's interesting. But no, I mean, to finish up, okay, this is my 3rd video tonight. That's more than I anticipated. I would plan to do 2, but because there was so much to discuss, I thought I basically covered like 7 videos in one. Again, I like this little podcast format. And I will be doing a match review of the Europa League final. That could be my only video tomorrow night, is the Europa League final video. I'll watch the final, post a little 5-minute video, because obviously work. Yeah, so we've got that to look forward to. And then the football season winds down. All we've got left now is the FA Cup and Champions League finals, and then there's a gap, a couple of international friendlies, and then the World Cup. The World Cup is now a month away. Players are still getting injured, by the way. So even though squads have been announced, I'm still concerned that some players could get injured, especially Liverpool players and Man United players and Chelsea players who are, in the squad for England and other countries as well. Because you've got the Real Madrid players, Atletico Madrid players. There are players in those squads who are at the moment on the plane to the World Cup who could get injured in those finals. So it's a tense time for international managers because then they have to do the emergency call up, and there's a limited time between announcing your squad for the World Cup and then when you're allowed to use an emergency call up, emergency backup if someone gets injured. After that, there is a cut-off point. And if you get injured after that, then you've got a weakened squad basically. So injuries are going to still play a part. We've seen Oxlade-Chamberlain's going to miss out. Gomez of Liverpool's going to miss out. Dani Alves is going to miss out. Neymar could miss it for Brazil with a broken foot. Manuel Neuer is on the plane for Germany, but I don't know if he's fit enough either. He's also broken his foot, and that's going to be interesting to see if he does get a shot at the German side. So there's a lot going on. Anyway, I'm going to finish that there because it's getting on a bit now, and I'm getting a bit tired. I'm going to go to bed early, but I'm going to say thank you very much for watching this little podcast. We've discussed a few things in short segments. Obviously, we've had some signings with J. Samuel, which is heartbreaking because he was only 37. That is no age. We've discussed a lot of things that's going on in sport at the moment, some things that happened today, some things that have been going on for a few weeks. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, place your comments below. If you want me to cover any topic on a video, I'm happy to do some research and things like that. And we're nearly at 250 subs, so if anyone subs from this video, there'll be a 250 subscriber special when we hit that landmark, which is around the corner. So watch this space. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll have some more videos for you tomorrow.